I'm going to let you in on a little secret right at the beginning of this episode. I told Tom right before we started that this really is timely today because getting real about effort today, a Friday before a 3-day weekend in the US, there's some real to be had here. If you're someone who's getting ready to leave early, or you're thinking, oh, I can't work on Monday, or I've got to work on Monday, or how am I going to get all the work done next week in 4 days? We're going to talk about getting real about your effort. It's going to be a wild discussion. I think there's going to be a lot of discovery and a whole lot more on episode 907 of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote provides an opportunity for business owners and leaders to discover what is real for them and to be impacted by what is real for others. That is the Renegade way. Let's get real. We all face challenges and get stuck occasionally and are looking for an antidote. Each weekday, this show dives into a topic that may have you stuck, frustrated, and uncertain. Our goal is to share our value in an effort to help you find that one thing, the antidote to your challenges, so that you can get results and make more money. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom.
Good morning, Bob. How are you?
I'm good. I did a little correction on the fly there. You're trying to mess with me.
Yeah, a little typo error.
I was looking at it. I'm like, I think we did episode 709. I remember that about 200 episodes ago.
Yes. My effort.
That's right. I should have caught it sooner. That's on me.
My effort was not as effective as it could have been.
It happens.
All right. To be real about that.
That's it. Tomorrow's another day.
Yes, it is. Hopefully.
Well, you know what they say, the sun will come out tomorrow.
Well, the sun will come out.
Hey, you can bet your bottom dollar.
Okay. That doesn't mean that we will get another day.
Good point.
Just because the sun comes out. We hope that we'll get another day.
So, I hope so too. I'll be at the beach. So.
Isn't there always sun out at the beach?
I saw some footage from the beach from someone yesterday, and it was really rough seas. Too rough to go fishing, in fact, for this person who had gone to the beach to go fishing, no less. So.
But hopefully they went to
the seas were angry yesterday.
Hopefully they went to the beach to put their boat in the water to go fishing, or they were on some pier.
No, they were on the shore. They were in the surf. They were gonna, early in the morning and late in the afternoon.
Got it.
And the appeal is catching sharks. Yes. This guy's caught a couple of sharks and takes the hook out of the shark's mouth and throws it back in the water. It like pushes back in the water. I've seen. I want no part of this. I don't even want to be like within 30 yards of the whole thing.
Doesn't sound like fun to me, that's for sure.
Fishing has never appealed to me. I don't like worms. I don't like snakes or worms. Ugh. Just icky.
Icky, huh?
Yes, icky is the word.
That's a good word, bro.
You said bro.
You said we should use that more on our show.
Well, yes. We were walking, Tom and I were walking back to our car from a baseball game the other day, and someone walked up near me, and he was tall like me, and he was like, yo, bro. And I don't live in the world where I get called bro too much these days.
So
much to my chagrin in some ways.
There you go. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome
to... Shall we get on with the rock and roll?
I'm sorry?
Should we get rolling here?
Coming back to that?
No, we're not going to do music. I spent all day yesterday thinking about musical groups that could have come into the discussion, but I'm going to tell you right now, Creedence was really a good one.
And the word came up before I even was like, oh, wait a minute. I could use that.
That was really good.
Anyhow, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast. Each week, Bob and I have a conversation around a topic. This week's topic is getting real. And real is in all caps. What are those things called again? I always forget this.
Acronyms.
Acronyms. Yes, acronyms. Real
The
is
first
the
letter
acronym.
of each word stands for something. An acronym.
Acronym. Should know that because they are used all the time. Too often, sometimes. I was in a workshop for a week-long workshop, and it was virtual. And so they sent us this package. And I thought I had it here somewhere. They had little signs sometimes, and one of them was that's an acronym. Because we were doing presentations, or people were speaking, or in all different areas, and it's just in the nonprofit world, like many worlds, acronyms are used all the time, and half the people have no idea what the acronym stands for. And so it was suggested that if someone gave an acronym, that we were supposed to hold this sign up that says, "Stop, that's an acronym. Explain what it is." So just so people out there are clear, for us, real is realize, evaluate,
I think it's
activate.
recognize.
Recognize. Right. You're right. My apologies. Recognize, evaluate, activate, which is to find the action to take, and then learn from that action. And so that's when we talk about getting real, that's what we're talking about. So today we're going to talk about getting real about your effort. And I think this will be a fascinating conversation, I think. And as we go through that conversation, if you have thoughts or ideas that you would like to share, please feel free to put them in the comments, because we know it'll add value to the conversation. And since we are live, we will share them as a part of the show. So please feel free to share your thoughts and ideas. At the end of that conversation, Bob and I will each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we hope will help you figure out if you're stuck, frustrated, confused, things seem a little bit chaotic, to find some clarity and confidence so that you can take the next step along your own unique pathway to success. And of course, at the end, if you have one thing that you would like to share as your antidote, please feel free to share your value as well, because we know there might be somebody out there who's desperately seeking it, and it might be just the piece they need to help them move forward. Before we dive into that conversation, though, we will talk a little bit about what's real. And we would encourage anyone who's out there to share your celebrations in the chat, because we know that celebrations are a good way to share what's real for you in the moment, and to help you get in a mindset that allows you to move forward rather than be stuck in judgment, frustration, or uncertainty. So please.
And also recognize the step you've taken.
Recognize the step you've taken. Correct.
Just for taking the step, not for the results, right?
Yes, because it's not.
So I did this thing I was really worried about doing, and now I want to celebrate that I did it, regardless of whether it worked the way you expected, didn't work the way you expected, blew up in your face. You took the step.
And it's an opportunity to learn what's real from the step that you took, and not judge it. I think it becomes very easy for us to judge the steps that we take based on the results that we get. Mm-hmm. That can only lead us to being more stuck and frustrated. So please feel free to share your celebrations.
Can I give you an example of being real that I was working with one of our Renegade Success Network members yesterday?
Sure.
This person leads a team, and some of the high-level employees work from home 1 day a week. It's a remnant of COVID, and that there are 4, including this person, who are responsible. And so he was explaining to me yesterday, there are days when no one's in the office, or when 2 of them are off. And he was saying, I don't know if I should bring them back into the office every day, or if we should change this. And so we were recognizing that we talked through it, and we talked about pros and cons. And then I said to him, do you have any real information about what happens when they're not there and when they're there? Is there a difference in what happens? And he said, well, I don't really know. I could find out. So the evaluation phase hadn't occurred. So we were talking through making a pretty big decision, because it would have implications with those employees and with the organization. And I realized in the process that the evaluation phase had not occurred. So to take action steps based on incomplete information wouldn't have probably led to a result that would have achieved the goals, because the goals weren't really clear either. Because if everything's running perfectly and you have people out of the office, okay, then there isn't an issue that you have to resolve. And so sometimes you have to stop and actually do the evaluation. So the task that this person's going to do in the next week or two is figure out what happens when people are in the office versus when they're not in the office. Because I said, if he said to me, they're more responsive to emails when they're out of the office. I said, well, that matches up with the research. I said, that would be a check on the have them out of the office side. But if you told me meetings that need to be scheduled can't be scheduled because they're out of the office, that would work the other way, right? Because some meetings have to be in person. And some supervisory things have to be in person because of the kind of work that they do. So sometimes I think to get real, we really have to do the evaluation and we have to try to get the data. I think so often what I tend to do is I recognize the issue and make a snap decision. So the action step is based on one person's feedback, one thing that popped into my head. Oh, I'm so frustrated. This is Friday before a holiday. No one's returning my calls. I'm never going to work a Friday before a holiday ever again. Whereas maybe it's just, this is just one of those days, or all the people that I called just so happen to be very busy today. Who knows? And so evaluating that by asking you, hey, Tom, you worked the Friday before a holiday. Did you do a lot of administrative work, or were you dealing with clients, or were you doing outreach? What was your day like? Oh, well, I did a lot of administrative work. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. I had a couple of calls, but not as many as usual. So I had other things I did. And I think that's part of what I like about the getting real that we're talking about, that acronym, is there is a concrete step of evaluating.
Well, I think that in that whole acronym, there are two things that seem easier than the other two: recognizing and taking action. Because we all want to take action. We don't want to be sitting around doing nothing, because that seems that it's not going to help the situation. So we either just want to keep taking action, or we do a lot of recognizing what's going on. The challenge with both of those is it's a lot based on results. The outcome of recognizing what's going on is the opportunity to judge. And we know that judgment just leads you getting stuck.
I would
Same
disagree with you.
action.
I would disagree. You said the easier two are recognizing and taking action.
Yes.
I think it can be very difficult to recognize what's really happening or not happening. I think it's easier to recognize what we think something is, but it may not be what it really is.
I would agree, but I think
taking action can be very difficult, because sometimes, we talk about people being stuck, overwhelmed, frustrated. Stuck would be not taking action. I want to do this. I want to do something today, Tom, but geez, it just doesn't feel right. God, I'm worried about the effects of it. What are people going to think about me if I do this thing today? What if I leave work early today and go to the beach and someone calls me at 3:15 and I'm not at the office and I really need to get my hair cut, and
Yes, and I still think that it's easier for us to recognize, more apparent to recognize things, even if what we're recognizing aren't the root cause of whatever the challenge is. Similarly, I think it's easy to take action, any action, even if that action, as you would say, is when you're stuck, what do? You go out and buy office supplies. That's an action.
Clean your desk. Clean out your email.
Correct. Clean up your desk. Whatever. There are actions that we all fall back on and take when we don't know what to do, because we feel like just in doing that is better than doing nothing, when in reality, it might be better to do nothing and spend that time evaluating what has gone on, or learning from the actions that we take. I think those two, the evaluating and the learning, are the two steps that get bypassed easily.
I think the learning goes away very quickly. I would agree with you there. I think the evaluation, it's like the hypothesis for your scientific experiment. What you come up with your hypothesis is going to really influence your experiment. And if you come up with a hypothesis that leads to a certain result, it may not be what you were trying to solve.
Yes. And I think the challenge, though, is that what we think is evaluating, we being the collective, is not truly evaluating. It's judging.
I couldn't agree more.
And so,
as someone who does it very well, not evaluating, judging, especially in my own efforts.
Do you want to talk about that now? Do we want to transition to that?
Well, Kelly's with us, and appreciate her comments. She's been with us all week, and she says the idea of action can be paralyzing for me. And I think that's not untrue for a lot of people. Certainly for me, I can think of, I'm going through something with my cat. You've seen my cat on the program, and I think I may be allergic to my cat. And I'm trying to evaluate what the implications of that are. So far, it's been wearing a long sleeve shirt every day and wearing long pants so that his dander doesn't get on my skin, which seems to be helping. But there may be some bigger issues coming down the pike. And taking those action steps, especially if it's the one where I have to get rid of them, that's going to be really hard to do. So what I find myself doing a lot is just not thinking about it, not evaluating it, not even trying not to recognize it, like literally putting it out of my mind, even though it's got some serious implications for me.
Well, and what it seems easier for you to do is to say, let me just take
a little chef's hat. Come on, that's so cute.
What seems easier for you is just to take action, any action, put on different clothes, wear long sleeves, long pants. Yeah.
Be out of the space where he is. Try to keep distance from. Yes. And those actions, while they're actions, I don't know that they're the best actions.
Correct.
Or the right actions. Or I only know the list of actions that I've come up with in that case. And I think that's the limiting factor. I haven't talked to an allergist yet. I haven't talked to the veterinarian yet. Both of whom might have a whole lot more information than me.
You think?
Yet here I am taking action steps based on Bob's world eye view.
Which is limited, right? Because what's real for you, your knowledge, experience, and perspective, is limited.
And as we talk about the topic about effort, I would tell you I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. I've spent the last 3 days in long sleeve shirts and long pants. It's summer. I've had to turn the air conditioner down at the penthouse because it's warmer wearing these clothes. So I could tell you, yes, my effort has been really serious in this case. I've put
turn
a
the air
lot of
conditioner
effort
up
into
or
this.
down.
What's that?
Do you turn the air conditioner up or down?
The temperature down. Yes, you're right. Thank you.
No, just you said that, and I was like, turn the air conditioner down.
No, you're right. Thank you.
Why would that?
But if you said to me, if we went out for a drink this afternoon, you're like, hey, how's your week? I would have said, oh, Tom, I've been dealing with my cat. I think I might be allergic. I've done all these things. I've vacuumed every day. I've washed my hands every time I petted him. I put dander shampoo on him, which he hates. I've brushed him a whole bunch of times. I've worn long sleeves. I've done this. I've done this. I've tried to stay away from all these things that I've done. So I put in a whole lot of effort on this. But here's the sad part of it. Probably the two most important pieces of the puzzle, the veterinarian and the allergist, haven't gotten to that yet. Not that I haven't tried with the allergist. That's been complicated. But I haven't taken the action step to go really deal with those two things. And if I'm being honest, part of the reason is I don't want to hear from them, hey, bad news, dude, it's your cat. Because once they tell me it's my cat, now it's completely real. And I'll have the information It'll no longer be recognizing the issue. It will be full blown, this is the issue. And then I've got to deal with it. So rather than deal with it, I kick it down the curb. And I think the cat example I give you, which by the way is totally real, I'm not making that up at all, is very similar to many work issues that we face.
Well, you're also anticipating what the results might be.
Prejudging.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. You're predetermining that that if they say this, this is what I have to do, even though there might be some other options to consider that they might provide you because they've been down this path before.
Right.
That
That
you
would
have
just
not.
might say, hey, 5 shots and you're good.
Or change the cat's food.
Right.
Maybe that's the piece.
Oh, I did that as well. That's in process. I forgot that one. So I've taken a lot of steps, but they're all steps that I have found based on me. I haven't asked anyone else, like, hey, you had a cat and you don't have a cat anymore. Were you allergic? And they go, oh yeah, I was. This is what happened, blah, blah, blah. I haven't done that. So I think so I've recognized an issue, but my evaluation has been narrow or incomplete. And I've taken action steps based on that narrow, incomplete information.
Right.
And what I'm learning is narrow and incomplete. Because now it looks like if I do all these things, who knows which one works? I'm not as allergic. But it's not solving the issue long term. And I think that's the thing about our effort as I think through it. I put a lot of effort into this week for this.
Sure.
And if I'm being rewarded at the end of the week, hey, Bob, you did a lot on this. Wow, you really took a lot of time on your cat. That's really great. Okay, beautiful. But was it the effort that leads to the result that I need or I want or would help me achieve my goals? Probably not. And I think that's the game with effort. We do things that are in our focus or easy or fun.
Well, and I think it depends on what's the goal of that effort.
Right.
What was the action that you had a result, and so you felt like this was the way to get to that.
Uh-oh, you froze on me. Did you disappear, Tom? Oh, Tom's gone. Guess it's me. Well, with that, I'm going to get to my one thing. My one thing today is that sometimes we take a lot of effort, but it's not based on enough evaluation or recognizing what the real problem is. And if you can't recognize what the real problem is and you take all this effort, you're in the situation I'm in where I've done all these things to help me with my cat, but are they the things that actually will achieve the result I want, which is obviously to be with my cat and have him be able to live with me and pet him and not have to worry. So if you've got one thing that you'd like to share, your today's antidote, please jump in. You can put it in the comments, or if you're on the podcast, sad to say you can't do that because we haven't perfected that technology yet, but you can go to our Sculpture Business Facebook group where you'll find 1,300 like-minded people, and you can put your comments in there. You can talk about your effort, how you get real about your effort, what something that you did where you felt like you put in the right amount of effort and you got the results you were looking for. Love to have that discussion with you. Love to learn more about that. It's a great place to write your ideas, your thoughts, and have other people be able to look at your thoughts and think about, it might be exactly what they need. So with that, this is where Tom says all kinds of great things. I can't imagine what they'd be. I see he's trying to get on again. But I'm going to tell you this. Whatever you do this weekend, this long weekend, hey, embrace the renegading you. It is so worth it. And I can't run the closing myself, but I'm not going to figure it out. So, you're back, Tom. We were just at the very, very end.
Yeah, I heard most of that. I don't know.
Do you have a one thing?
Yes, I do.
All right, jump in.
Well, I think that getting real about your effort is I think it's, again, becomes easy to become a judgment. Like you could say to yourself, man, I spent all this time, effort, and energy trying to figure this out with my cat and it isn't working. And so what a waste of time from your perspective.
Or it is working because I don't have as much rash.
Correct, which may or may not actually be the solution that you need because it's based on what you know. And I think what's challenging is that we base our effort based on what we know. And rather than say, hey, I don't know a lot of this about this, maybe there's somebody else who knows more. You know, and you sort of mentioned it, is I wonder how many people you've talked to who've been into this situation. Or I know you're struggling with finding an allergist. Have you asked anybody if they know an allergist that you could talk to just to get their feedback, get their thoughts? Because what's real for them is different, and they have different knowledge, experience, and perspective that could benefit you. And so I think, you know, part of it is what's your goal, and part of it is, are you evaluating your effort based on your limited knowledge, experience, and perspective? Even though we may have a lot of knowledge, experience, and perspective, it may not be relevant to the situation that we are trying to put effort towards.
I like that. Wow, it's been a wild week of discussion.
I would agree.
I forget the tease for next week. Wait, I can find it real quick. Tease for next week. Hey, rocking it real is our topic next week, right, Tom?
Does that mean we're going to have to come up with 80s rock bands?
We could do each decade. We could come up, you know, each day we'll have a different decade. We'll start with the 60s.
I'll have to go back and start doing some research.
Beatles,
Bay City
Cream,
Rollers.
The Who. I think Led Zeppelin was the 60s, you know. Jimi Hendrix, Bob Dylan, Temptations, Four Tops.
I'm not sure the Four Tops were rock.
Stevie Wonder.
I don't know that he was rock either.
He could rock.
Doesn't mean that he was a rock performer.
True. We'd have to recognize what our terms are for rock
and define it.
Yes, correct. Then
all right, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us today. We look forward to seeing you inside our Sculpt Your Business Facebook group. If not, we'll see you Monday morning, 7 a.m.-ish Eastern time.
No, that's wrong. We will not see you Monday morning.
Tuesday morning.
We are going to celebrate. We've recognized the need to celebrate Labor Day.
Yes. So we will see you Tuesday morning, 7 a.m.-ish Eastern time, for our next episode of Today's Antidote.
Hey, whatever you do in this long weekend, be safe and embrace the renegading you. You will thank yourself again and again and again.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, go out and enjoy your day. Enjoy your holiday weekend. We will see you soon.
Getting real about your effort isn't as easy as it looks. Those words really pack a real punch. If you're struggling to get real about your efforts, if you're thinking, I spend a lot of time working, but it doesn't seem to be achieving your goals, or you feel like you're working on the wrong stuff, or you're judging yourself about what's right and what's wrong, or you're like me and you clean your email out every time you get frustrated or angry or overwhelmed, hey, we've got a program for you. Our Get Real, Get Results, Make More Money program is just what you need. Find out more by contacting Tom or Bob, or go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. You could be getting clarity and confidence that easy. It's right there waiting for you. Do it now. You'll thank yourself over and over.